So one a street lead closed last week. One got signed Monday or yesterday morning, and one is hopefully closing on Friday.
And okay, so love to hear all of it. So take us through all of that. Give us some context. Hey, where are you from? Where are you, what kind of market is it? What did you do? Did you pick up the phone? Did you send an email, send a text? Like, how did they get to meet you? How did they invite you over? Did you do it virtually? Give us the story.
So the one that closed last week was the one from, I think I talked about that before in one of the masterminds. So she came to me she clicked on my ad in November, but she didn't answer any of my emails or any of the letters, phone calls, anything. But then I kept sending her the videos of the market, and I put her in my CRM. It's called Sing. So every 2 weeks, she received the report about the value of her house and the market, the way that the market of that area, Henderson area, is going.
Oh, okay. So you're in Henderson.
I am in Las Vegas. Yes.
In Las Vegas. Okay. So yes. Say hi to Wendy. Say hi to Nicole.
Yeah, I know that. So, and then in end of January, she called me and she was interviewing a lot of other realtors, and she had some realtors in her family. But because of the connection that I had made through the videos, she really liked the way that I proceed and the way that I approach. And she said, just because of those videos, I just think that I know you very well. And then she hired me, and then we closed last week. The one that we signed yesterday, it was one of the address onlys. I had lost my hope for the address only because since last September that I joined StreetText, I had 0 response for those address onlys. I was like, why should I spend money on the stamps, on the envelopes, on the postcards when I don't get any response? I was at that limit. And then somebody called me. He was an old guy. He said, you sent me some stuff in my mail. I'm like, who are you? And then he introduced himself. And I was like, oh, yes. So you click on my Facebook ad. And he said, yeah, I want to sell my house. I'm like, okay, that easy. And I was like, that much to just not pay attention to address onlys anymore. And the one that is closing this Friday, she is a double deal. So we signed on the agreement in December. So she was a lead from December. I sold her house in February. And then because of the type of the loan that she has, that's why it took so long. But then she's buying another house with me. So we're closing this Friday. She was very easy. So she put all her information for me, like her phone number, her email address. I practice different things. Sometimes I send them an email first and then I call. Sometimes I call first and then I send them an email. So it's different. So I just try to do different approaches, to do different things. No, I don't stay with one thing. And I called her first, and then she answered the phone and we talked. And I said, can I come and look at your house? And she said, sure. So we talk and talk. She said, there is another realtor before you, but he didn't follow up with me. I said, well, I'm here. I'm ready to go. Do you want to sign? And then she said, I don't know. Should I? I said, yes, the market is good. Go ahead. So yeah, I keep it easy. And then as soon as we put her house under the contract, I put her in another house. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, so let's give some context to everybody here. How long have you been with StreetText?
So I joined at the end of last July. I mean, in July of 2020, and just beginning of I had some wins for last year, but it was only maybe 1 or 2. So, but since the beginning of January till now, I have closed like over $3.5 million. That 5 of those deals belong to StreetText.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
What type of email do you send in your follow-up?
Well, first thing, I think the email that it goes through StreetText, they don't go very well because I put my information there and I wanted to receive those auto emails from StreetText, and I noticed that I don't receive them, so I have to go through that. I don't know what's going on with that. But I spend a lot of times with the StreetText. I have a like a schedule plan that I wake up at 5, and then at 6 I work on my StreetText people. And with the BombBomb, there is a thing that I made like a blast email for in the BombBomb for all the StreetText people, and I divided them to 3 groups, like cold leads that maybe they're not in rush to sell their house, with hot leads that they say we're gonna sell within 2 or 3 months, and the buyer's lead. Every Monday, I send them the weekly market report. I show them the chart, I explain everything, and I keep saying that if you think it's right, now is the time. You came to me like that time, maybe last year, maybe this month, but now if you think it's the time, just give me a call. And since I've been doing this, at first I didn't get a lot of response back, but I recently I have noticed, and I follow up with the BombBomb, and I see that they all of them open my all of those like 300 people, they open the email, but maybe just 20 of them opens the video, which is not important for me. Video is not important for me to open. All I want is that they open my email, because what I say in the video is in the context, and they read that. So that is important for me. And again, I don't know if they read it or not, but they see my name and my picture. This is important for me. And when they see my name every week in their email, so they're gonna know that there is a Miriam in Vegas, that she's ready to help us. So this is important for me. Another thing that I am working, I have not done it yet, and it's a little bit costly, but I think it's worth it. So I have created another Excel file, and I have put all the hot leads that said we're gonna sell our home immediately or within a few months. I'm gonna put them in the banner season mailing thing. So I'm gonna put them in the 3 months follow up. So every week they're gonna receive something from me. It's a little bit expensive, but I think it's worth a try. I use that for sale by owner people, and I have got so many good responses. And I said, well, why not? I'm gonna use for the StreetText, because for sale by owners are free leads, but when I spend money on the StreetText and on Facebook ads, so probably I should focus more on these people so I can get what I spend, maybe a little bit more. That's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, so Mondays is weekly emails, Tuesday is text if I have phone number. Thursdays are mails. I send them mails every week. That's what I do.
That's massive. That's massive. Do you hear all those takeaways? I'm trying to write them down. If there's anything else you're picking up on, let us know. But I'm hearing brand. So brand's a big takeaway. Your picture's in there, text context in the brand. That's always big, because you don't let the video be your message, because there's a lot of people that are not going to see it, but they'll read it. And then a big picture of Miriam right there is important too, because in your email signature, if you don't have a picture, you're totally missing out as well, because that's your brand. They have to see you more often. So they're getting that, and she's doing that weekly reports, and she's doing time blocking. She's doing time blocking with StreetText, specific activities with StreetText. And if you're not time blocking, how do you expect you're going to get any consistent results?
I think time blocking is very important, very, very important. So another thing that I do, because I'm very busy, I'm a busy mom with a jumping monkey that I have, keep me super busy. So, I just changed his schedule so I can be in masterminds on Wednesdays. But on Saturdays, I go to my office. So from morning to noon, I go visit open houses. But from 12 to 5, I spend time on StreetText, just StreetText, like 4 hours a week for the training. I think training is important too, because I think one of my main mistakes that I lost a lot of leads last year that I got from StreetText, and I didn't follow up with them because I just jumped into StreetText without any training. I saw that you guys had tutorial, but I didn't look at them because I just wanted to, make sale without training myself. Then I didn't get much of a response. But this year when I planned for everything and I decided to just train myself with your tutorial, it was way helpful for me, especially with all of those, add custom leads, with everything, and the emails, mails, all of those.
I listened to your replay yesterday, Marcus, for the class you had yesterday, and it was brought up in there. A couple other people were saying about not doing the training, but one of the bigger takeaways I'm getting right now that's really cool, when you broke everything down, you went from what I call hot to not, most active to not the most active, and concentrated on those. And it seems like your numbers jumped when you started doing that.
There you go. And I mean, and you're dedicating yourself to the training. Now, Miriam, did you take any courses? Did you take Jennifer's course, Jenky's course?
I didn't. No, shame on me. I didn't.
Shame on you. Maybe we're going to create a course after you. Who knows, right? You're obviously figuring something out to find some success.
Yeah. I'm a savvy tech person. I go and find stuff on the internet and I try to train myself. Like that banner season that I'm telling you about, I haven't done it yet. I just paid $25 to start with them. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to put definitely my hot leads of StreetText. I only have two lead generation for sale by owners and StreetText. That's all I work on.
Well,
I don't go after expires or these things.
What would you tell yourself, as well as other people that are just starting with StreetText, that you know now that you wish you would have known when you started StreetText? What would you I'm a new agent. I mean, not new agent, but I got my license last year. So if I was trained well as a new agent, I knew that key is in follow-up. So in July, as soon as I started with you, if I knew that everything is gonna be back to me through follow-up, I wouldn't have lost 10 leads. Because last year I lost 10 leads in the StreetText that they came to me, but they went to close with other people. But that didn't turn me down because I knew there was money. When I saw those 10 people went to other agents, well, there was not their problem. That was not a StreetText problem. That was my problem because I didn't approach them in a great way. I didn't follow up. And there's so many strong agents out there, so many experienced agents out there. And that they probably have more money than me that they can spend on follow-up. They probably have more experience, have more strong communication. But then I decided in December, okay, that's it. I have spent that much. It has to pay me back. I've spent $600 on StreetText. It has to pay me back. And the very first commission that I got from StreetText, it was $50,000. They pay for everything. So, and I'm gonna say follow-up is absolutely key. Do not jump in to the leads that you think, and then after like trial, think that it's not working. You have to first of all train yourself. Everything is in follow-up, except for one of the leads that I got from StreetText. All of them went through a huge funnel of following up. If I didn't have any of those following up, those people wouldn't have remembered me at all as their agent. Like there is a lady coming to me. Her house is in my neighborhood, but she keep clicking on my ad, and I went to her door, knocked her door. I said, "Hey, I'm your neighbor, and you keep clicking on my ad." Said, "Yeah, I have seen your face on my Facebook so many times." And I said, "Yeah, we just live 2 blocks away. So if you need any questions," and I gave her what I had prepared for her as like a CMA stuff. And also for the people who have who send me their email, I send them the email with the video. I also give them a paper. I mean, send them all the things in paperwork. I write them a very nice letter in a very nice paper with a lot of designs of the house and the boat and stuff that people will like it, make it friendly. And also I attach the whole like 15 pages of CMA. They probably look at it, they probably don't, I don't care. But the very first page that they see is my letter and my picture down there. And so that's all I care. I really don't care if they read my stuff. I want them to know me. I want them that it's me, there is a Miriam in real estate agency who works with this company and who's ready, who's there. That's all I want. And that's we can't hear you there. You're out in no service land.
Hey, Robert, I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, I had a question because she was talking about sending stuff out every Thursday, like mail. on a weekly basis, is that like then all your new leads get their first stamped letter mail on Thursday? Or are you saying you have enough content that you can send something that looks fresh and new every single Thursday to those, newest, most interested, saying they need to sell in the next 6 months?
So let me, okay, well, so far there are like 300, all those 300 people will receive the email from me. But at the beginning, I said I have divided into 3 groups. I don't honestly, and again, unfortunately, I don't spend so much time on buyers, which I think I should. But every Thursday, I send different stuff to the people who have given me time frame. And I go to Breakthrough Broker. Let me show you.
Miriam, while you're doing that, Leon wanted to know, are you sending a normal text or bomb text on Tuesdays?
No, it's normal text. Can you send text through BombBomb? I didn't.
Yeah, you can send text through BombBomb.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, well, yeah, that's gonna save me a lot of time.
Yeah, you can send.
Okay, so since
Okay, I need to
reward it so much, use your mobile app to send the text out if you want for texting Tuesdays. But I was just wondering for your engagement if you just was getting better feedback on text, since people usually respond to text quicker than an email.
So okay, no, I mean, I know that I could send text through BombBomb. I have that app. The very first 2 that I sent, and the very first few times that I sent text through BombBomb, like it was individual, it was not like a group. So I didn't know that I can send a text through a group through BombBomb. They did not open the video, but when so, and then right now in the BombBomb mobile app, my video doesn't get uploaded. I don't know why. But when I text them through my cell phone, sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't. But because they think that with the BombBomb and text and the video, they think it has virus, so probably they don't open it.
Yeah, and you can put some
there's
text context with that to say, this is a personal video I made just for you.
Oh, okay.
Right? You always want to put a little text context with every video, just like you do with email, so that when they get this little thing, they know it's, what it's about, they're about to open. So that's my recommendation.
So can I just say very quickly, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
So if you guys go through Breakthrough Broker, a lot of the brokerage have this for free. I'm using it for free, and it depends, but there's also like a Breakthrough Brokerage Plus that is chargeable. I don't use that because I'm spending money on the StreetText. Oh, so much light. Okay. So on the StreetText and on for sale by owner stuff and for ads. So, but Breakthrough Brokerage is a great tool for you to always have new stuff to send to your people. Like this is something new that I just found. So it's gonna be my advertisement for this week. They're gonna go out on Monday. I mean on Thursday. So, and also I have created this this postcard from Breakthrough Brokerage again. So if this is just for a StreetText people. So it's for downside. A lot of the people I have noticed, a lot of the people who click on my ads are the people from south part of the town whose homes are very big. And when I look at the history, I see that they have been in that house since 1998, since 1980s. So they are seniors now and they want to downsize. That would be gone on the 3rd week of my communication with them, which is really good.
Awesome. Nicole, did
There's
you have
yeah, well, not a question. Something to help Miriam with her texting. Let me turn my camera back on. So there's an app called Reach. There you go. It's the little green. And you can go in and you can make groups.
Okay.
And you can send the same text to everybody.
Okay.
The free version. There's a version which limits to, I don't know what the limit is, might be 10 or 20 people. So you might need to make multiple groups.
Oh, okay.
Or
Yeah.
I think the paid version is maybe $5 a month. And then you can have unlimited people. So you can go in and add new people to your group when you get new. And that way you can just type one text and it sends out to everybody.
Awesome. I tried to use simple texting. It was okay, but it caused a lot of problems because first, it didn't have my own phone number. So they generated like an 800 number, and I didn't get any response from that. That was like only $25 too, but I didn't get any response for that. So I was like, well, I don't use it.
Yeah, as far as I know, reach comes from your own phone number.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because they don't know if it's like a real number or because I want them to have my phone number too.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Just to know what happens when someone replies through that app to the group. Does the text go back to the entire group or does it just go back to you?
No, it's not. It doesn't send group text. It takes your things, your contacts, puts them into a group, and then they all get an individual text. So if they respond, it's just responding. And actually, you know what? Let's see. I haven't used it for a while. I don't even know how to see, but when you do send it out, I'll see on my sent text, it'll just be boom, 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 boom. So they definitely all get it individual.
Cool.
There's a way to do that on an iPhone, but the problem is you have to turn off your iMessage and it creates some other issues. So connectivity to other devices goes away, and you can do things like that are obviously very useful, but the Reach app sounds phenomenal. So I'm already researching that on my end, Nicole. I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone at StreetText, right, Logan? Hey, Logan,
Mohini,
change your name to Logan.
Mohini, I see you have your raised hand as well.
Yeah, I actually, maybe I missed it, but I just wondered what training she did take.
So there is a tutorial section in the settings. It tells you everything from A to Z of everything, of like the whole StreetText thing. I should have done it last year. I didn't. Again, I'm sorry for not doing this, but it didn't harm anybody except for me, because last year I just lost 10 leads just because I didn't train myself through. And Marcus and Troy kept saying that there is a tutorial, but you know, I was too busy with everything, and I was new, and I was trying to find my way. So,
is that different from the StreetText Academy?
I think it's there. Let me see.
We do have another one, actually. Troy, I don't know if you want to talk about it. Troy just finished putting together something that I thought was incredible. We can link in the chat section here. If anybody's got the link ready, go ahead and share it. Otherwise, I'll find it and put it in. But yeah, Troy just spent a bunch of time putting together a new version of the StreetText Academy that's a little bit more up to date. So I think it would be very beneficial for everybody to see that.
Hey, Troy, enlighten us here. Enlighten us in Costa Rica, buddy.
Was that the first StreetText Academy one or the second one, Logan?
It just got released, I think, like 2 weeks ago or last week. He just finished. The other one was on Teachable, like the Donna Swansea course and everything like that was. This one's on Thinkific, kind of like Jen and Janky's course. So it's a little bit more up to date. And I've gone through the first half of it so far, and I thought it was great. So I would definitely recommend it.
Maybe Troy doesn't have volume.
Yeah, and look in the chat section there. Brandon did just post it in there. So that one that says StreetText Academy, thinkific.com, go ahead and click on that, get registered, and take advantage of that free resource.
In the meantime, Brandy, I see you have your hand raised as well.
Yes, thank you. Quick question, Miriam.
Yes.
You mentioned that you're sending out a weekly mark spending money. Are you using HomeBot or are you manually creating that?
No, HomeBot. I don't use HomeBot. I use HomeBot for a lead that I got from StreetText, and it was $1,500,000, and that caused me a lot of problems. So because the home bot that I sent it to him appraised his house 800, and last year his house was 1,500,000, and he said, "You guys don't know what you're doing. This is just bullshit. And this is this is that. My house is that much." I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't do that. This is electronic. I said, no. When you send this, it means that you think on my house is for this. That was it. That was the end of home bot life in my life. So I go to my CRM, which I'm using it free. It's free. I try to look everything for free and spend more money on advertising, like on StreetText or on mailing. So the CRM that is provided by my brokerage is called Think. But you can do it through MLS too. So if your brokerage doesn't offer any CRM, go to MLS. Just the way that you create the homes for your buyers that they receive every week or every day emails at what homes is available. Do active under contract sale, and there is an icon says that what is that home, that address is for. So you're creating a CMA, and that person receives that CMA every week with how much their home is worth, or you can do it every month. So I use that now, and it's more accurate than, to me, it's more accurate than HomeBot. But I know that a lot of people love HomeBot, so no offense. I didn't use it because it caused me a lot of problems, just because of that specific person.
Right. Thank you so much. Actually, you got my wheels turning because we can automate it from our MLS. So
yeah,
that would
and it's free of charge. It's free. You don't even spend 50 cents. It's something that is given to you for free. So just use it.
Hey, Miriam. So
thank you.
From a takeaway, I heard. So how many touches are you getting to a lead from the moment they come, both on the personal side and then through your automations? And I think what you told me is that you don't rely on StreetText automations, so you have other ways to get automated things their way. So how much of that is personal touches, including your mailers, and how much of that is automation?
So the dates that they entered, and I spent 3 months on them, and then after that I changed them to month, because each of those so each of the postcards that I sent cost me around for each person cost me around like $50. So it's the money that you're spending on that. So within 3 months, if I get the response, then I get the response. If I know, I just change them into 1 month. Now every day, I have a plan. Let me see where I have put it. I have so much papers here. Okay, so here's what I did for myself. It's not that ugly. It's my computer, very nice and beautiful. So Mondays I do the follow-up calls, and I also send them that marketing reports. If I have their phone number, I call them. Tuesdays, okay, no, I'm sorry. Tuesdays are the mailers. All of these are done automatically. Tuesdays are the mailers. Wednesdays are emails that, hey, what you're doing. This is like fun emails. Thursday is Facebook ads, like anything. It could be anything. It could be an ad that List Reports gives it to me and I post it. It could be my personal life. It could be anything, but all of them will see that. And Friday, I'll send them text again. So Monday is my busiest day because I have to create the video and send it to them. But from 6 to 8:30, I try to send the video and email and prepare the letters for the new commits.
Wow. So automatic. You said automatically you send these mailers, right? Is that how do you set that up? I am
sending, yes. I have started doing that. So far I have done it by myself. So and I'm a little bit behind, but I am using a tool called Banner Season. It's really expensive. I'm going them to, because I'm using that for my for sale by owner people, which has given me a lot of good response. They don't know me, they haven't seen me, but they receive my stuff and they trust me. So I'm gonna use that for StreetText people. I know it's gonna be a little bit more work because I have to design the whole things again for the StreetText people. But For the mailers, every week I do it manually and I use my assistant to like help me to send these things. This is gonna go out next week, not this Thursday. So yeah.
Miriam, can you type in the company that you use into the chat?
So if you want like different postcards, different like letters, newsletters, go to Breakthrough Broker. I'm typing.
Awesome.
Most of the time it's free. Just if you want to, I mean, I didn't see any need to pay them for the other stuff. I can use them. The other stuff that are not chargeable, so I didn't pay them. And then another company that I'm using, I mean, I have started using for StreetText people is Banner Season. And I get a lot of the good shareable ads, which like shareable saying from list reports, and all of them are free.
Awesome. I mean, while we're on this topic, I'm just putting in the chat feature in case you guys didn't notice in the insider group. Steve and Jeff Moore tomorrow are hosting something specifically on automating your leads through, and this is going to be pretty awesome because they've discovered really, really cool ways of automating mailers and systems and everything that you can imagine under the sun through Zapier. This guy is like the scientist of Zapier. So you're going to want to be there if you're one of those people looking to work smarter. That is going to be a great introduction to what's possible here. So make sure you save that date.
The things that Jeff has figured out how to do is incredible. He can literally automate every single thing that you're doing manually. Like, it's insane. And so it's very worthwhile checking out. And of course, everything's possible to do yourself. So you can go on Zapier, you can figure it out. And I think he's going to be offering something at the end too. So you can look into that because he'll offer a way of doing it for you. But we've also got a lot of recordings in the past with him where he's basically just shared everything he's doing too. So it's going to be worthwhile. Definitely valuable to check out what they're going to be talking about tomorrow.
And that's going to be hosted with Steve, right?
Yeah,
John?
that's with Steve. Cool. Steve and Jeff.
If Steve's on here, feel free to unmute yourself. But yeah, cool. I mean, wow, some great sharing, some great takeaways. What have you guys learned so far? What are you going to do? What are you going to implement? I like the themes that you have every day. That makes things a lot more fun to have those type of themes Monday through Friday than just kind of randomly pick what you're going to do.
Well, and the suggestion is rather than create overload that leads to frustration, add one item at a time, look at what you're doing now, and actually tweak what you're doing now and add something to it to improve it.
100%.
I've got confirmation that reach does come from your own phone number, and it just comes as a normal text. Omar and I have been testing it.
Love it. Reach. Everybody download that app, Reach. I know you all mass text. I do.
Yeah, that seems like that's a no-brainer. If you can send bulk messages to your contacts from your text message, but they're coming as individual, it just seems like a no-brainer. It's a really good idea. You're just, again, working smarter, not harder. Yeah, so that thank you so much, Miriam, for those shares. That's really exciting. I'm glad to see you're having so much success with this too. It's really cool. Any other wins?
Well, and get this, especially considering that she's in one of the most competitive markets in the entire
world.
Right. So for what she's doing, she has to do those things, especially as she's kind of she's beginning her real estate career there. She's competing with everybody and their mother.
19,500.
19,500 agents. So that Miriam's got to be different. And she's
so everybody in my office is asking me about how I get my leads. And I said, well, StreetText. Oh, and I don't say StreetText, I said Facebook. The how, and they are veteran realtors. They say, how? It's so difficult. I said, well, I use a tool called StreetText. They said, what is it? So I explained to them and I shared the links to some of them. Like, this is so confusing. I'm like, no, it's not confusing. So not all, I mean, they are 19,000 realtors, of course, but none of them, not all of them are smart like me, Nicole, and Wendy, because we are sitting in our computer. We know we are from the generation that they know how to work with the computer, with the internet, and it's not like spending. One of the realtors actually, he was telling me he spent like around $20,000 a month on advertising. I said, no, I spend like $10 a day, sometimes $12 a day. It's like, oh my God. Like, yes. Yeah, go keep spending your money. We will get the people.
I have a share. I have a share. So the share I did last week about that very first StreetText appointment I went on, and then he didn't have enough equity. Remember that? Well, we put his house on the market and Friday, I think, and sold by Sunday, of course. 45 showings later, 21 offers later. We listed it at 350, which I listed it high on comps, and we got 390. So he is super excited, and I'm excited for him. And it's like, that just makes sense that everything happens for a reason. You know, he was super bummed last year when he had to run his house out because he had to relocate, and it all worked out, and he's going to make some money now. So that's exciting. And then the matchmaker one that I worked on, I screenshotted what Zillow said that home was worth before I listed it, because Zillow said it was worth like 242. And I was trying to explain to the seller that I could totally get him 300, you know, and most people would believe Zillow over, you know, us. So I created a cool post. Can I share it real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is just the ongoing battle of, oh, you have to allow me to share.
Here, I'll do it right now. Wendy, give us some context for people that are just joining the mastermind for the first time. How long have you been with StreetText for?
Since November of 19. So that's when that first guy I met with. And it was funny. It was like a week after I joined. I was like, oh my God, this shit works. I'm going on an appointment. So, and you know, it didn't turn out the way we all planned it, but it's definitely turning out good for him now. So, but yeah, so I created this little post and I said, so Zillow said this home is worth 242,364 when I met with my seller. Thank you, Dan, for not believing everything you see online and trusting me about your home's true value. Sold this home for 300,000. And I put on here appraised and sold for 300,000 because it's not like they paid the difference or anything like that. It appraised for 300 and Zillow really thought it was 242, 364. So, you know, I mean, I'm just trying to be creative and educate the world, you know, that you shouldn't believe everything online and we can help you get more.
Wendy, that's brilliant. And that's something I think you could start using even in your automations, or, you know, perhaps even with your personal follow-up to just show people how online values are so off, especially right now.
I know, right? That was crazy. And I even went to the appointment saying Zillow said his house was worth this and realtor.com said this. And he goes, I know, I'm just so confused, you know? And I was like, yeah, but the thing is, and they all had his square footage wrong. So like his square footage was all over the place on each website. So, you know, that poor guy. And the appraiser, it just came right in at 300 and my buyers were super excited. He's excited, everybody's happy, and everybody is now living in a home. Nobody got homeless.
My favorite saying is the A in Zillow stands for accuracy.
That is good. And so true.
You know, the funny thing is now that they've became a true brokerage, they're headquartered here in Seattle. Their numbers have gotten worse instead of better. And Wendy, real quick, I was going to ask you this. Are you tagging the loan type for your people? Because like you're in a place where you do get some VA down there. And I got a lot of VA where I'm at. But with the VA and FHA people, seeing how they're the ones that didn't have equity, piggybacking back to you, Marcus, about the equity one to run, I started running that, and that's blasting up. And because of the current market with the 3.5% down VA and stuff, or FHA and stuff like that, with everything selling overbid, now there's room to do that, and they make money and walk for short times in homes if they haven't had it long.
Makes sense. Yeah. So guys, what we're talking about, the equity ad in the conversion set because there's 3 ads that really you can run for the seller ad. So there's the what's your home really worth if someone were to buy your home, and then the equity one. Just remember, in the equity one, it forces you to put in a city or neighborhood. And again, the work around that is an emoji or 2 or 3. Okay, so don't put the city and or neighborhood unless you're like, you know, in Vegas, the Vegas or Henderson area. That kind of makes sense. But for most of you, you don't want to put that city or neighborhood description. You want to make sure you're adjusting that for that 15 miles. But the equity ad is a good ad right now. And again, it's up to you how you want to run it. I like the satellite image, but your call.
So Marcus, that's a good question right now. What ads are you seeing working really strong right now this last week?
Okay, great question. Obviously buyers, and you have to realize, because you're working with the top of the funnel, the buyers are actually sellers. You're just not asking the questions, because a lot of sellers are not selling because they don't know what they're going to buy. So if you're not taking advantage of that buyer funnel, especially the lead ad, you're missing out. Now, with that being said, if you're running the buyer's ad, run the buyer's lead ad. And that's that buyer lead ad, when it says, you know, it allows you to put a home type. And essentially, I think the best thing you can do is think like all single family homes in Vegas and Henderson, for example, if we're already in your market. Why do you do that? Because we know everybody wants to get into Vegas and Henderson, and whatever's available they want to see. But the whole point of that is that lead ad takes in their name, takes in their phone number, takes in their email with one click. It's already auto-populated because of the lead ad. So when they click next or submit to see that list, it should be taking them to that IDX or matrix links that shows them all the pages of homes from the lowest price to the highest price, just everything that's available. And then that leaves you with the opportunity on the other side, whether it's a text or an email introducing yourself, there to get them that dream list, because they don't want to sort through all those homes. So the more overwhelming you can make that list, the more you're needed on the other side, and you're ready to actually ask them about, hey, what are you looking for? What neighborhood? What price point? What amenities? You know, what school districts? How can I make this list something that you get excited about? And in my mind, and then obviously when you pick up the phone, you start talking about, you know, where are they now? Do they need to position their own home on the market before they move into this one? And you can ask those questions, and oftentimes you'll find these people have to sell first.
Yeah, that's really gold. And I think like in the buyer side, there are so many people who want to sell. Like right now in our community Facebook group in my neighborhood, somebody just mentioned that they were thinking about selling their property, but they're holding off because they're afraid that if they sell their home, they won't be able to find a place to buy because the market is so strong right now. So that's a really easy objective to get in front of if you just simply can show them that they can actually rent back to the buyer or rent from the buyer. And so that gives them the time that they need to be able to make that move. So if you are answering the questions, the objectives ahead of time that people have, that helps you to create those conversations, and people feel much more at ease, like, oh, okay, there's options available to me. So sometimes it's about figuring out what those options are. And another really good and really important thing, and I think this is, you know, this is obviously very intuitive. When working with anybody and you're trying to serve them, you're coming from a place where you're giving them the property list that they asked for, you're helping them narrow down their search, you're providing the value, that you're building that trust. The thing is as you get in there, you got to start with a position of curiosity, and you're basically just trying to uncover and serve and diagnose, because you want to make sure people feel heard before you then start offering what you can do. Because if people don't feel heard before you start offering, what happens? If you offer before they're heard, they just disconnect, because in their mind, there's no trust, you name it. So it's really, really important in lead generation, especially, that you are giving an opportunity to your leads to express their concerns. And then that gives you an opportunity to hear them repeat back in the email or the text message or the phone call what they're saying, make sure they're heard, and then you can kind of progress. It's very easy, very intuitive, but it makes all the difference when it comes to building trust and creating new prospects.
Hey, I just wanted to quickly highlight. So if you haven't noticed in your dashboard, if you have a live account with StreetText, this is what we're talking about. The available templates now are all ranked by the lowest cost lead out there at the moment. So what you do when you hover over it is you kind of get a good feeling for, okay, you know, actively 2,700 people on this one right now, averaging a $3 phone number, right? So you'd look at this, same with the custom listing ad. And then this is what the one I was just telling you about. So in Vegas, for example, I would go in here and I would click select. And then you're basically putting in Vegas and maybe, you know, the Vegas area, Vegas and Henderson, I'll just leave it in Vegas for now, but single family homes, like see all available single family homes in Las Vegas, and maybe you'd say, and Henderson, right? And then you can pick images from stock. I don't recommend to, okay? Don't put stock images that are not architecturally fit for that area. I'd rather have you actually pick your own image, okay? And realistically, you know, you got to test it. Do something that you think would be compelling to that area, okay? Architecturally sound. I even think like, well, we know the map works, right? We know the map works on the seller side, so it's something to think about testing on the buyer side. But let's just go next here. Now the next redirect URL, a lot of people get stuck here to figure out what they want to put. So your privacy policy is already set in. Your IDX link, if you have one, would be something like this, that when they gave you all their information, it would direct them to all those properties, right? Because they've already given you name, phone number, email. It goes right to this list, right to this list. So they don't have to go look for it. I mean, obviously you're going to have that in your email as well, but this is the important thing on takeaway of the lead ad. It should be redirecting them to what they asked for, okay? And then basically you click next, you drop your pin, you know, and you try to figure out where these buyers are. So it's probably going to be, you know, in Vegas, Henderson, and maybe even other areas that they'd be coming from. So, you know, for fun, I'll just put Vegas in there, but you probably should do the drop the pin and then click next. And then everything else is the same, right? You can split as many as you want. And then there you go. And then every one of those is going to have the automation and then text messaging. And, you know, like we always preach, don't go in there and just let it run until you go in there and make it your own, right? Go back to the automation. Go ahead, Wendy.
Okay, so for all you smart techie guys in StreetText, okay, so I would like to lead them to my website, but my website demands all their information once they start clicking photos. So is there like a little code you can put in there to bypass that? Because they're already in Follow Up Boss. They're already a lead. They already went into our system. How do I keep it from them having to do it all over again? Do you know? Anybody?
Could you create a squeeze page?
A squeeze page. I don't know what that is.
What's your what website do you have?
It's through Ylopo. So what
There should be a way to turn it off.
Do is like my pool home one. I just do Henderson and then click pool. I go into my website, I click Henderson, I click pools, and then I create this pool home list of Henderson homes, which works really well. But some people get annoyed because they have to re-register again. So
There should be a way to turn that off.
yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking.
So I used Ylopo for a couple of years. I think if you turn it off, it will turn it off globally, but their support's pretty good. I'd probably just shoot them a message and explain what you want to do, because every IDX is going to be a little bit different. Okay. I just switched out of Ylopo, so I can't go in and look at how to do it, but yeah.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, so remember, takeaways on lead flow right now: equity ad for sure, and buyer's lead ad, because everybody inevitably wants to be part of this seller, you know, rush, this gold rush. But the market will shift, things will change, the bubble will pop. And right now, if you start really tapping into the equity as well as the buyers, you're kind of ahead of the curve, because everybody else is doing, you know, the what's your home really worth, because they all want to take advantage of it. So be one step ahead.
So Marcus, can you go over the IDX again? So the IDX is something you already created with the list of homes, right? In the area. So when they go click that link, it gives them a list of home that you pre-created. Is that what you say?
100% correct. Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and again, with these buyers ads, I don't recommend saying see all the single family homes in the 95030 or 90210. Don't do that because that limits you. Do it to where it's the biggest exhausting list you could potentially put together.
I'm in Houston. That's the big list.
And good, say all single family homes in the Houston area, and they're like, I want it. And all of a sudden you're at the other end and you're there to actually customize that list. The point is, because just like we don't want to discriminate to anybody in sellers, that's why we do the map image wide, we don't put anything on there. Same thing with buyers. You don't want to discriminate any buyer. You want all the buyers, and then you want, because you can get the lowest phone number, and then you want to pre-qualify that person through your automations as well as your personal follow-up to find them that perfect home and see if they have to sell as well. It's just building your pipeline faster than ever.
And then the other, to add on to that, the buyer side, when you do it, like, so the nice thing about if you have a matrix or IDX or an internal office outside of your website, you can actually set those property lists so that they get an email of that list that they searched for every single week automatically, and it'll still say it's coming from you. And the nice thing about that is you're building people who, it's the same as HomeBot, like you're building people who are getting value from you week after week after week after week, but you don't have to do anything. It's just doing its thing. And then all you have to do is occasionally email them and be like, hey, would you like to narrow your search? And then when they respond to you, yeah, I'd love to narrow my search. Boom, you got a conversation, you've got a potential client, you got somebody that you're working with. And so you want to set them up as much as possible in an automated way so that it just does what it does, and they're getting value on the property side.
Alana, can you take kids?
No. Yeah, so that's really the key there is making sure that is, but it does take a little bit of work. So if you have an assistant, that's great. You can have them do it. If you don't have an assistant, that's fine. Just make sure that everybody that's coming through, whether it's you're doing it every morning, like Miriam, where you're just starting your day and you're like, okay, I'm going to take an hour on Mondays and I'm just going to make sure all people coming through are on this list. However you want to do it, just make sure it's done. And I also like how Jennifer solves her time blocks. She creates blocks within her day that are flexible because she knows that her day's schedule is gonna jump around. And so you can do it however works for you, for your personality and for your schedule, but just making sure you get those little things done every single week, all of a sudden it adds up.
Awesome. Hey, we're at the top of the hour, so this is the time just to ask questions. Share anything you'd like, guys. This is for you. So make sure you have all the questions. Rich.
Yeah, how you doing? I have a question about HomeBot. I just signed up for it, and am I supposed to, I don't know what supposed to is the word, but is it better for me to put a personal, like a CMA, or just let HomeBot generate it the first time to go out?
When you load them across there the first time, if you do a mass upload, it's kind of difficult. But if you load them individually, when you go in, tweak it to go ahead and match what it should be, and then send it out manually. Don't let it wait to go. But like the first time I did mine, I uploaded probably 5 or 6. No, I uploaded like 800 or 900 of them. So there's no way I was going to have time to do them all. But at this point now, I use that as the CMA I send out. Tweak it to match what I send, and then that way I let it go. And every month, that way I know they're getting the touch.
And I created a quick little video for a virtual assistant that I hired. So anybody that we put into HomeBot, he runs what we call a simple valuation. He does a square foot range, an age range, and about a half mile away from the property, and then kind of puts in a value range and updates that for me. Then at least I know it's close, and I've watched it to be careful because I'm cautious about letting someone else do valuations, but he's always been within about 2 or 3%. And then when I call the leads, I say, you got your automated value. I don't tell them somebody did it. I saw a few things I don't necessarily agree with. I'd like to update that for you once I found their motivation. But so I don't even do the valuing in HomeBot myself just because I don't have the time. I'll do that once I talk to them.
Thank you.
And I know Leon's going to add something on that with the whole correction culture. And it looks like you just unmuted yourself, Leon. So I won't, march on your parade here, but just real quick, I think that's so incredibly important is it doesn't matter. I mean, you're going to be wrong, right? It doesn't matter if you're doing it or somebody else is doing it, you're going to be wrong. But the ability to go in and say, hey, I noticed something as well that I think might be off and I want to correct it. It's not, you're coming to me and saying it's wrong. I'm getting ahead of this and saying, I also notice I don't think something's perfectly right. And that's just your automated report. I want to get you the real deal. Here's how we're going to go about that. I think that's
that kind of goes back to when Marcus used to preach all the time about the internet's best guess. I always say blame the people that ain't there. Real quick question I had though, because you guys are saying run buyer ads. I sit there and I'm more worried what my ad cost is for what I'll be spending, because with buyers here and lack of inventory, I'm more worried I'm gonna blast up a budget on buyers that I'm not even gonna be able to do anything with because they're priced out already. So I know I'm missing out on possible sellers with that, but what are your thoughts on that if I'm running a buyer ad?
Who wants to answer that one?
Yeah, that was my question too. So thanks, Leon.
I mean, I'll start just with my assumption of things is that, we're in a very interesting time everywhere right now where buyers, sellers are always a more lucrative endeavor. And we all know that, right? But we're in a very interesting time where there's been a lack of inventory everywhere for so long. And that's starting, from what I can see, starting to shift a little bit. People are opening up a little bit, more listings are coming online. That's great. If we right now use this opportunity where buyers are frantic, I guess we'll call it, you fill your database full and then do what Wendy's doing, do what a lot of other people are suggesting, where maybe you're not going to get, your current buyer into the flood of homes that are currently happening. That might not happen, but start working with them and helping them and directing them and helping them improve their credit, whatever you can do. Then this same time next year or 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is, you have this huge list of buyers and hopefully you generate a bunch of listings as well that are, you can start matchmaking and things like that. So it's always good to, build that database, of course, but I absolutely hear what you're saying, Leon. And right now, it's buyers are a little bit tricky just based on the fact that, you have to offer so much more and there's so many more other offers that you're competing against. But again, if you can generate inexpensive leads right now, I think it's a good time to add to your database personally.
Yeah, if I can add to that, thankfully I have a team, so I don't touch any buyers, but we have been using them just for matchmaking purposes, like Logan was just saying, and we just double-ended a listing before it even got on the market because we had a buyer that came in with those same necessities. So that's the only way we've been using buyers, because besides that, I really don't like working them because of what Mr. Harper was saying as well. It's extremely impossible to, especially in this market. Miriam was saying she has 20,000 realtors, we have 50,000. So I definitely don't want to be stuck with a buyer right now, but it's a good way to work it.
And we just put buyers on the bench. If they're not ready to compete in this market, we love them. We send them listings. We help them get ready, but they're on the bench. They're not ready to get in the game yet, unless they meet certain criteria. I have a question too, when I can take a turn.
Go ahead, Micah.
We were talking last week about responding to all of the comments that people leave on your Facebook ads. And if somebody likes it, messaging them and just kind of that personal touch. I know I won't have time. I know I won't take the time to consistently do that. Has anybody found a good way to allow your ISA or your assistant or a buyer's agent see the comments that are going on to your ads on your Facebook page and respond to them? Can you make them an editor on your Facebook page, or how can we allow somebody else to take that and run with it?
Yeah, so if you have a business account, so what you do is make sure your Facebook page is on your business account. Yep. On your business account, you can add people to your team, and then you can give them permission to anything that's under your business account. So you can say, okay, I want to have this page and this page only. and I want them to be an editor, or you can make them an admin if you need to give them that permission. You can give them whatever level you want, and you can see which permission will give them the ability to comment and to follow up. And then they can then go to your Facebook page, and whenever they go there, they can actually click on the comments and they can see all the new comments, and they can manage that for you.
Okay, cool.
And they'll have to, when they get there, they'll be able to comment as themselves or as you.
Or
So just
as
make
the
sure you're
page.
training them to hit that little drop down that says commenting as, and make it your business page. So it's actually your business page replying, not the IS.
Right. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I assigned an agent to ours just because I couldn't keep up. So it's going really well.
Do you know what permissions you gave them? Did you make them an
I had to
editor?
do admin just because she's also working on chatting with people from my bot.
Okay.
So, you know, in order for them to respond to messages and stuff through Messenger, they have to be an admin, I believe. It wasn't working at the other level, so.
Something else you might want to also try, even though you have an admin assigned, if you're running BombBomb or something like that, go ahead and make a couple of default videos that they'll be able to put in for you. Just like how Marcus teaches the snippets in the Gmail, go ahead and get it set up where they could just put that into your Facebook. That way the admin can be posting those for you with you advertising and being the face that runs the place. And then you can still get the follow-up later, or they can, but it just makes it so much easier to do that.
Right, I have one that basically thanks them for, you know, finding our property on Facebook, and, you know, they may not be ready now, but blah, 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 blah. And then I introduce my team because she's going to be the one chatting with them. So I want to make sure that, you know, they know it's me and my team, not just.
And you're just kind of using that BombBomb snippet feature. You message them when they comment and
I
take
just recorded a real video,
Right.
and then saved it, and they put it into Messenger when they're chatting. You know, I mean, it actually automatically goes to them after so much time.
Yeah.
So they get the property details, and then they get the video, you know, and then the bot starts asking them questions, and then the agent has to hop in and take over at some point. So it's pretty cool. Book Me Solid actually is who does that, sets that up for your property listings. Yeah, pretty awesome. Good stuff. But yeah, I don't have time. There's so many messages. I think we got like over 1,200 messages this weekend from the new listing. So yeah, you need help.
I have a quick question. Where is the, do we have buyer strips?
I don't know if we do. Do we have any buyer scripts, Ira, Logan, any Troy?
There's some minimal scripts. There's a minimal script that's attached when you launch it. If you see the ad and you click on funnels.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and it's just there's a quick text message and an email that's in there because it's unique. That's really unique in there. And also think of it like this, like a seller, they might be coming in way in advance. So it's all about timing and follow-up. Where a buyer, we're a little bit more motivated. So we don't need as much of that nurture drip with the buyer initially to engage them. So there is a little bit of a drip in there you can check out.
Okay.
Yeah, and Debbie, make sure you add them to the property drip. Like when you have a property list that you set up through your matrix or your IDX or however you want to do it, when they get that drip every single week from then on out of the properties available, that becomes your incubator, your nurturing list, and then have yourself or somebody on your team sending an email just every couple weeks, just saying, how's everything going with the list? Is there anything you'd like to change? Because that is what's going to prompt the conversations that you want to get from the list, because they're going to be on there. They're going to be like, you know, browsing. But it's not complicated, but it's really effective on the buy side.
Okay, thank you.
Has HomeBot been integrated yet into the StreetText thing?
We have a developer who is actively working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when that does happen, I'll be able to, like, my StreetText leads will go right into HomeBot and get a report automatically. Is that the idea?
Yes.
because I don't use any of the Zapier or any of that stuff. And I just had my sign put up in my listing, and I've already got a text. I'm like afraid to post it on Facebook. Somebody said you're just going to get steamrolled if I can't follow up with all those. I'll feel like, help. I don't want to let those good leads go away, you know?
My suggestion though is when you get the notification that it moved, go jump into. So like HomeBot shows you activity daily. My thing is, as it goes across, since HomeBot doesn't send out like right away when it goes in, go in and check that value if you have a chance and send it. And if not, just be prepared to, overcome the objection of, why are you giving me a bad price?
Yeah, that conversation I'm never afraid of. I don't have a problem with that. I like what you say, Leon, blame it on who's not there. And that's what I do. And if it seems to, I'm able to smooth that out 9 times out of 10 and at least have a conversation, which is gold to me. Yeah, and but HomeBot is not a place where you can do a CMA, right? You got to do it somewhere else and then bring those numbers in and plug them in yourself. Is that right?
Yeah, but see, I always say this: the two things, if you're up, what I operate with, everything starts with StreetText. That's where it all comes into. Once that thing comes in there, and I look at what it is, if you're not using your own MLS and getting your data in live time, something's wrong with you. I'm just going to say that, because there should be nothing more accurate than your MLS. So when I have a StreetText lead come into me, I roll it into HomeBot, upload it. I'm already cross-referencing everything in StreetText. And then the other thing, like I said, in tagging, I get a lot of people, I should say a lot, but there's enough people that aren't on title or something else. What I've been doing is if it might be John Smith, who is married to Mary Smith, I will put Mary also on title, so that, and you can put that in the notes in your HomeBot. And I also put stuff in my StreetText. I'll put HomeBot, I put the date I sent it as well, so that when you're looking for a quick reference, I don't use StreetText as a CRM, but if you're in there, it's still good to have the quick data. So I'll put HomeBot, I'll put the date I sent it along with who else is on title. I've also started putting the type of loan, because if it's a veteran, me being retired, military, whatever, I say, hey, I love my vets, how you doing? I want to thank you for serving. Or if it's FHA, I have an idea what they're doing. And then I tweak the HomeBot and I manually send it. That way it goes out. So when you get that call in that conversation, no matter which one I'm in, I always say be a copy and paste king or queen. I can make my notes in HomeBot and then paste them straight into StreetText or vice versa. So I'm not having to type it all twice, because it takes me 2 days as slow as I type. And then this way, as quick as you talk to them on the line, I can be pulling up my phone, going to StreetText, look at it, be talking to them, and on the fly have my information. And knowing the date I sent it out gives me an idea if I really need to look at it and tweak something. I had a lady yesterday, I got an appointment for the 17th, 2 years ago, I talked to her, and I'd made a note, and I looked at it like, oh yeah, boom. So definitely go in and take that extra 30 seconds to make yourself better prepared, so that when you get that 2-minute window of opportunity, you're ready to go.
Well,
I have a quick question about audiences.
yes.
Troy, you helped me last week set up my domain name, and you said to wait like 2 months before I pulled an audience to retarget with videos. And my question is, if it's an ad that's already run and it's no longer running, can you still pull an audience from that to retarget?
Yeah, you
If
can
it was
pull,
tracking,
well,
yes. Sorry, yeah.
Go ahead, John.
No, you can, yeah.
Well, I just don't see them in Ads Manager, so I didn't know, and that's usually how I create my audiences. So the ads that I've run previously, is it still done that way through Ads Manager to create your audience to retarget?
You
Go
can do
ahead,
it that
John.
way. As long as you had the pixel firing, you can use either the URL. So you can go to your old ads and you can find, okay, this is the URL that you want to retarget, or you can use it by the ad. You should be able to find the ads, and if you can find them there, you can do it. As long as a pixel was running, then you'll be able to do the retargeting. Okay. Now, on note about the retargeting, Facebook can only retarget people that have given them permission to retarget them. And so there's a reduced audience on the retargeting. So one of the things you can do is you can create a lookalike audience on your retargeting audience, and you can expand that list out that way if it's too small, because Facebook needs to have a certain number of people for the retargeting audience for it to work.
Thanks.
But the great thing about retargeting is it's the cheapest way of advertising and staying in touch with people. So it's very, very cost effective.
Because that was my plan, is to start rolling out videos like once a week, like seller tips. Like I have a whole, and then exactly like you said, create an audience and then do a lookalike, so it goes and finds people that behave like the ones that already interacted.
Yeah. And
Okay.
throw in, have one of your, like whether it's your, what's your home value worth ad, put one of those ads in the retargeting list as well, because it will just make its way through there. And even though it's somebody that you might have already had click on a buyer's funnel or seller's funnel, what will happen is down the road, they will see it, they'll be more ready, they'll click it, they'll fill it up, and you now will record on StreetText a second submission. So you can then track that engagement from the retargeting side.
Okay, great info. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, everybody. I just want to say something. I don't know if you can hear me clearly.
Yep, we can.
Okay. So this is just as a warning. I got one of the leads from StreetText, and it was an appointment that we set, and I was supposed to go look at the house that, the seller bought last year, and he was claiming that it was tenant occupied. I checked the title. His name was not on the title, so I was a little bit suspicious about it. I verified his email address, the phone number, and nothing matched. And he didn't even want to meet at that property. He wanted to meet on a different property that he said is his other house, and it's his workstation as well. And I couldn't find any business related, or linked to that house. So I called him the morning before the appointment to verify everything, and he couldn't even tell me the first address that he inputted into the lead. He gave me the wrong address, and when I told him his name was not on the title, he acted surprised, and the conversation went upside down, and he was upset, and he started saying, "Oh, I need to talk to my lawyer. How come my name is not on title?" And then eventually he just hung up. He couldn't keep up with the lie. So it was a scam that, I was so thankful that I caught it before I went ahead and met him. So especially for the female realtors, just when the name is not on title, just make sure to verify a step further and maybe ask more questions to see why their name is not on the title, and just make sure at least take somebody with you, your husband, somebody from the office, to be outside the house just in case. So I wanted to share that with everybody here, just as a warning.
Way to trust your gut. I think that's such a good thing to share too, because we are in a real world, and so definitely trust your gut. I took an avalanche safety training course this last winter, and it was really incredible. But one of the things they taught you is they teach you, what's interesting about avalanche safety courses is that you start out and you learn about avalanches, and it starts to become incredibly terrifying. And you're like, oh my goodness, I don't want to step anywhere on the snow. And then as you get more educated, you begin to say, oh, I can actually see what triggers. And now I actually feel very safe being in the snow. And so it goes from one end to the other. But one of the examples they shared is they said, always trust your gut, because they gave, there's a guy who wrote a book on this where he had a bad feeling and he couldn't explain it because everything else was checked off, right? Check. And that day an avalanche went, and it ended up, I think he was the only survivor. And so he said if he had trusted his gut, that never would have happened. And the only reason he didn't trust his gut was because he was embarrassed, because he was a newer guide and he was afraid he was going to look silly. And so don't ever be afraid of looking silly, so it's like, good thing, trust your gut, do what is you feel in your heart. And the thing is if you have somebody to bring with you and you still really want to meet the person, great, but meet them in a public place, meet them somewhere safe. And if you have an office brokerage available to you somewhere like that, that's obviously a perfect place to meet somebody. If you have an outdoor coffee shop, meet them there. There's a lot of places you can meet people, and you can bring somebody else with you. You could bring if it's a buyer, you could say, oh, I'm going to introduce you to my mortgage partner. if it's, there's a lot of reasons why you would want to bring someone else with you. So definitely a good, great, we don't talk about that very often, but very good point.
Yeah, you could always sit there and say, hey, myself and my partner, without even mentioning a name, and see if that makes them skittish. And the other thing is, and I laugh, we go back to this Facebook thing. If they're on Facebook, they got Messenger. Some brokerages have policies that they need to show you a valid ID before you show up. So you can say, hey, can we FaceTime real quick? I know it's kind of stupid, but my broker has a policy that we basically need to identify who we're meeting and verify it. And if they get skittish about that, just a further warning sign. So yeah, heads up to you and congrats on your decision.
All right. Hey, amazing mastermind. Thank you so much for attending, everybody. It's almost 10:30 our time, 1:30 Eastern. Anything that you're pulling away from this, leave it in the group. Let us know what you're going to do from this mastermind, what your big takeaway is. One thing, actually, there's probably 10 things, but one thing that you're going to do from this mastermind, share it in the group. Let's get inspired and encouraged and come back next week ready to share.
Yes, thank you all. Really appreciate you.
Don't forget, tomorrow, if you're really looking to the automation world, that's the meeting to come to with Jeff Moore, who's a wizard with Zapier, and Stephen Whiting. So get registered. That's in the group as well.
See y'all there.
Thanks, you guys.